Alright, I've got 3 pieces tonight. A piece from Brian Olson. Dacite. I'm just going to call it Dacite, even though it's Obsidian. Bill Taylor stuff. These 2 pieces here. One is triple flow. I think just regular triple flow. And this is the fancy stuff. It's got the gold sheen. I think I did this on video yesterday or the day before. So I'll do this last. And I'll do this one first. I gotta reduce these down. Okay. Starting off the week with something not too difficult. Hopefully. I like my new canvas bag, but I'm not switching it out, even though it takes me forever to look for stuff in the canvas bag. Yeah. Ooh, this one is a total of 9 inches, but realistically 8 inches. Yeah. Alright, so let's try this first. See if I got all my boppers that I need. Yes or no? That's not supposed to be in there. I got a hammer in here. Okay, where's the other bopper? I'm gonna use the larger one. Yeah. The medium sized one has a loose cap. I gotta pin this cap. See, I got relatively small, medium, large. This one's a 6, this one's a 9, and this one is a 14. I'm gonna use a 14 because the cap is loose on the one I use the most. Okay, ready? Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't know about you. See, it's kind of blocky, kind of challengey. Yeah, kind of triangular-y, almost. Reminds me of a triangular type challenge. All right, so what is the strategy? Strategy is just something, it's a plan to help maximize your success. The basic plan is to thin the ends first before you start working on the middle. Helps to ensure success. Yikes, it's not going to cooperate all that easily. Alright, it's not too bad. Let's see if I can knock off some good chunks here. Technically, that is an overshot. Voila. One good piece. See if we can go for another. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Yeah, well, we'll see. Cannot guarantee. That's an overshot too, technically. For those of you who like the overshots. Voila. 2 spalls. 1, a 2. What about number 3? I don't know. There's nothing thick anymore. Nothing really thick. I could do one across there, but that won't be really thick. Let's see, should we try for one across there? Yeah, in typical Dacite fashion, it didn't do it. It's not the easiest stuff to work with. Sometimes it's all crackly. Yeah. Okay. So it got thinner. Now it's just a matter of finding out what I can use. It does have some cracks in it. Where exactly, I don't know for sure. Just gotta find out. That's why I zigzag around. One of the reasons why I zigzag around. First, okay. All right, let's. Still using the heavy bopper, which is kind of risky. But risk is the name of the game in Flintknapping. That's what makes it a game and not a regular craft. It's the element of risk. Yeah, one of the other things that I normally end up doing, that I'm interested in doing, besides Flintknapping, is making arrows. But there's very little risk in arrows. The only major risk in making arrows is when you're straightening the arrows. Or drying them out. You don't know if it's going to work out with the drying process or the straightening process. But after that, there's hardly any risk, so it's a handicraft, basically. If there was risk throughout the whole process, it'd be more like a sport. Like Flintknapping, there's a risk through the whole process. Except at the end when you're hafting it to the handle or the shaft or whatever. Let's see. Oh, that one broke. So this is going to be snap and halfish. Unless that was a defect in the stone, which it could have been. Contributed to the snap and halfishness. Yeah, I think it, yeah, a little bit of a defect made it a weak spot. Okay, so I'm not too worried about it being snap and halfish, although it is crackly. Yeah, I can get some good flakes. The flakes are going everywhere. But why? No. See? You saw that, right? You knew I was going to hit right there, but the more perfect it is, the less it works. Yep. Okay, where to hit? Oh, the ends have got to be thinned down a lot more. I need to get the smaller bopper. Yeah, jump to the much smaller size. It already wants to jab me through the gloves. It tried already. This is really pitted. It makes it all crackly when the bopper is really pitted. Okay, let me adjust the light here. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I prefer to grind these down rather than peening them with the hammer. That's why you wear them out. Yeah, I know. But that's it. That's what I do. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. It's my style. It's the way I roll. I hope you're happy. I'm making a bunch of crud flakes. Yep. Yeah. I get lots of views when I make lots of crud flakes. Not even kidding. Okay, what do we got? We got any curves starting? No? Everything seems to be okay. Did you catch all the angles? Yeah? Cool. You got your angelometer hooked up to the video? Okay, awesome. Yeah. Almost got it. Almost. Beautiful. Once wait until it starts getting thin. Yeah. See, that's the first stage. That's not real napping on the first stage. Here's where we get into the nitty gritty. The nitty gritty. This is when you're really napping. After the first stage. Yeah, as they say now, we're gonna start cooking with gas. We'll start getting serious. Yeah. All right, here we go. Why do I start with that one? Because that one just looked juicy. Yeah. Some of these flakes look juicy. The potential flakes. But the general rule of thinning the ends down first always holds true. Thin the ends first. even though I knocked off some juicy flakes in the middle, or semi near the middle, they don't look like they're diving too much, which is good. See, the longer the flake is, the more chance it's going to dive or take off the other side. The irony is, the longest flakes are the, I mean, you're going to want the longest flakes for the finishing, but that's when it's the most dangerous to have the longest flakes. Yeah. That's why that's the stage where it's the real flint knapping, because it starts to become contradictory. Yeah. You gotta have this balance, which is difficult to master. I have not mastered it. So I'm thinking the more and more I do it, expecting different results, the closer I'll get to mastering it. Yeah. The more and more I do the same thing, expecting different results, the closer I am to mastering it. Yes. There's always an element of risk. Always. You might say, when is it going to get difficult? Because it looks so easy. You're looking at it. This is the difficult part. And it gets more and more difficult as it gets thinner. But it's not as difficult right now because it's still got some meat on it. But it can snap at any time. Because of an internal defect or a mistake in placement of the flaker, or just a slip of the hand. It could be all slippery and it moves just before I hit it, so I don't have time to react. Yikes. Or I might misjudge because the brain isn't always working properly. It's not supposed to do that. See how it stopped abruptly for no reason? Seemingly no reason. Okay, I see. I can't see. I see what it's doing. There's no big change in strategy. It's just slight tweaks to get it finished. Same strategy. Thin the ends first and then the middle. Same angles and everything, basically, but just slight tweaks to try to get past the stone's tendency to do that kind of scoop out. Because I don't want to hit it too hard. See, if I hit it really, really hard, it can snap it in half, but then if I don't hit it hard enough, it does those scoop outs. And it's difficult to get those out. Because you gotta attack it very carefully. Yeah. That was lucky. Luckily I got it on the first try. Okay. And for you that are new, I do opportunistic flint knapping. I'm not constructing any platforms. I'm just removing the weak areas by abrading and looking to see what I got. Opportunities present themselves as I remove the weak areas. Weak areas are going to crush if I hit them with a flaker or hit them with the bopper. So I brush all those off. I also tend to hammerstone the edge, which is a little bit more intense than brushing because it removes bigger flakes. A lot of times I do that for symmetry. It's easy to look, strike, look, strike. To preserve the full length, it's easiest to put 2 points on it. That way you can develop symmetry without losing length. You know, just keep 2 points on the workpiece. That's how you preserve the most length. And you'll see a lot of artifacts that look like that, and that's probably why, because they want to preserve the most length. It's not always the reason, but you can preserve length with one side flat, yeah, as long as it starts with one side flat. But it's more difficult to keep the symmetry when one side is flat. You end up symmetrizing it and removing a lot of extra material when it's flat on the bottom like that, because the flatness, it depends on where it's angled. Sometimes it starts to look like it's angled in the wrong way because you get the symmetry messed up somewhere else. So you have to bring the back perpendicular to the longitudinal axis. Bring the base back in line perpendicular to the longitudinal axis, and it can shorten the point or shorten the workpiece. But right now I have continuous one measurement just from point to point, just one longitudinal axis that I have to worry about. Everything else has, just symmetrizes to either side of that, just that axis between point to point. I don't have to worry about a flatness. Okay. Where is the finer abrader? So the second stage is over. Now the third stage is refining it. First stage is getting rid of all the stuff like this and a bunch of crud flakes. And the second stage is thinning it down and getting some of the symmetry set up so it's almost like a preform. And then the third stage is the precise thinning and smoothening. And the final stage is finishing. Right? It can be divided into as many stages as you like, depending on mindset. It can't be just random. If your mindset seems like it changes a lot, that's a change in stage. If it's not changing all that much, then it's pretty much in the same stage as before. If your mindset is pretty much the same, you haven't really shifted into a different stage of the process. Right now I've shifted because every strike is a lot more careful. The variation in the angle starts to reduce to where it's almost imperceptibly different from strike to strike. You don't have much of a variance. When it gets thin, the angle you strike it at starts to become a lot more constrained because you can't shoot in different areas like you could before with more meat on it. You've got to stay in that plane, basically. The thinner it gets, the less variance you have in the angle that you strike. There's still variance though, yes. Almost imperceptible. In the finishing stages are the most important stages. And that's when you have the most imperceptible angle changes. People want to know, how do I do it? I can't tell you that because it's almost imperceptible. People have trouble in the final stages. Mostly. Yeah, you'll have trouble in the beginning stages when you're beginning. But eventually, all your problems are going to be in the final stages. Because those are the hardest to master. Because, like I said, the angles don't have much variance, and you're constrained. And any little mishap can ruin the piece when you're that constrained. Come on. Yeah, it starts to get all crackly. But, you know, I damage control all those toward the end. See all these little step fractures? I'll get them out at the very last stages. I try to minimize that at this stage, but it's not always possible because I either forget that I need to be more careful, or I just don't know how hard to hit because it keeps changing. You know, this gets lighter and lighter, so everything is slightly different as you progress. And if you forget, if you don't make the mental adjustment, you get little goof ups. And, you know, if you're aware that it's going to break, you start backing off, and then when you back off, you get these little step fractures because you don't have enough force, which is just the price to pay, yeah. And back in the old days, they got just live with it. There's a lot of this kind of stuff on the artifacts, these little step fractures near the edges, when they got to that stage where it was just too much of a pain in the butt to be perfect. Yeah, so they just left it. There we go. It's doing it. It's doing its thing. Although this Dacite isn't too bad. I've dealt with much worse. And with my style, I live with more than what some people can tolerate. Like some people can't tolerate that stuff at all, so they don't. They take extra time to try to avoid step fractures anywhere in the beginning or in this stage. not only in the beginning, but every stage, they can't live with these little defects. So they construct the platforms and they look at the flake path really carefully, and they'll adjust the edge if it doesn't match exactly where they need to be hitting. They'll just repick it to where it looks like it's a better chance of success. But me, I can live with little defects. I just brush away the weak areas and then take the opportunities and make doo-doo with what I got. Some people can't tolerate that level of haphazardness. Yeah. Why do I tolerate it? Well, I kind of pace myself. I don't tolerate it at the very end very well. So I pace myself. It takes me a lot of energy, maybe more than other people, to be very methodical and very careful. Construct the edges instead of taking the opportunities, but just forcefully construct the edges to where I think they should be, to where I think they will work the best. It takes a lot of energy for me to do it, mental energy. I get exhausted. And then I start to get diminishing returns. Yeah. The more I try, the worse it gets. The harder I try, the worse it gets, as far as the way it looks. So I gotta make sure I don't burn myself out during the napping. Okay, good. A lot of that preparation was just for that type of flake. And I was worried that was going to overshoot. Yeah, it's a switch stage flake. See, it doesn't scoop it out too much. It did not overshoot, so it's not scooped out on this side. And it's one of those voila flakes. Yes, it is. Okay. I only need a few of those for each point. It's still crackly right there. Yeah, it's still crackly right there. But luckily I have a lot of edge still. One more flick through this area here, and then I'll move on to the next one. Move on to the next segment too. I'll cut the video at 30 some odd minutes. Move on to one of these other pieces. Some of you might say, well, all your preparation around these big flakes isn't that just like, preparing methodically? Nope, it's not the same. Why? Because it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't burn me out. Because it doesn't feel like I'm focusing on just one spot. I keep it in the back of my mind that that's the spot that I'm going to eventually hit, but I've got other things to distract me, so to speak. So I'm not thinking continuously about that one spot. I'm thinking about it only as something in the future, not something immediate. All this other stuff is in preparation for thinning that area. It doesn't always work out that great, but I live with it. Yep. Yeah, there's a lump through there. I'm just trying to figure out where is the best angle of attack. I don't know yet. Some stuff on the other side too. Okay. Come on. You're going to get all crackly on me, aren't you? Yes. Dang it. I gotta make sure I don't install a curve. Why am I doing this side and not that side? It's all in preparation for that side. It matches my personality because usually I have to do 100 things before I can do one thing. So it kind of fits my brain pattern. Yeah. Why do I tell you all this? People want to know the thought process. I kid sometimes and say the whole thought process is don't break it, don't break it, don't break it, don't break it here, don't break it there, don't break it there. That's always the thought process, but other than the don't break it, there are little procedures. Yeah. Strategies that help to ensure success. The strategy is a plan that helps you succeed. You gotta have a plan of some sort. Well, you don't have to, but it helps you to succeed instead of being completely reactive. Also helps you judge what you can live with. All right, come on. Let's see. Let's get this wrapped up and take care of all the nasties, and then one final blow to get rid of that lump there. Hopefully, that's the plan. Anyway. Let's see if it did it. Is it close enough? Almost. Almost there. I may have ground it down too much. Yes, no? I think that's good enough. For now, yes. There's still some areas where I need to thin it. It's still kind of wonky, but it's not bad. Yeah, it's working better than I thought it would work. All right, so I'm going to cut that video right here. That's this stage done. That's like the, what is it, the third stage? I still got crackles in the middle. Let's see. I might be able to get that out later. I still have some meat in there. Yeah, I could maybe send a flake somewhere to catch that and smooth that out. If not, you know, that's not too bad. But yeah, I've got a lot of edge on this side. I can brush it back, make it stronger, and shoot a flake in this way, maybe. But I'm depending on the endings of the flake to hit the back of that, so I don't ever know when that's going to work. Okay, just so you know. These little crackles in the middle are the hardest to get rid of because you're depending on the ending of the flake. You don't want the flake to go too far because it'll dive. When it's thin, the diving hurts you a lot. When it's thicker, the diving doesn't hurt that much. Yeah, but when it's thin, the diving will hurt a lot. Okay, so that's it for this segment. I'm going to move on to the next one.